Most Kubernetes engineers treat security certifications as the hard ones, as the scary ones. But the KCSA isn't really a security exam in a way you would expect. It's a Kubernetes threat model exam, and the difference matters because a lot of you deciding what to study based on that. I set the KCSA exam on the first attempt, and I'll give you the score at the end of this video, but first I want to walk you through what the exam actually tests and why most preparation guides fail. The KCSA is not the CKS light exam, and this framing will cost you points. KCS is a performance-based exam where you have the real cluster, 2 hours, and the real tasks. You need to connect to the instance and interact with it, run the kubectl commands, and so on. And also you need the muscle memory. But the KCSA exam is a 60 multiple questions exam where you have 90 minutes to complete them. There are no terminal, there are no kubectl, and that sounds easy, but it's not, because every wrong answer is designed to look correct. 2 options will look right, but you need to know which options is actually correct. That requires a deep conceptual model, not just familiarity with the topic. If you're a Kubernetes engineer with KCA and KCS exams experience, you're not standing from the zero, that's great, but you still need to learn. But I'd estimate that prior Kubernetes knowledge transfers to maybe 40% of the exam. The rest is the cloud-native security framework, the supply chain concepts, the compliance frameworks, and the full threat model you have to study deliberately. There are 6 domains, and there are the weights from the official CNCF curriculum. Cluster component security and security fundamentals together are 44% of the exam. If you know Kubernetes well, that's already a good base. Compliance is only 10%, but the questions there have a different flavor. They are more definitional, and they are actually learnable in a short period of time. Those are the easy points that you can get in an hour or so of the time that you spent on learning. What to study? I would suggest to start with the 4 C's of the cloud native security. That's the cloud, cluster, container, and a code. This is not just the exam topic, it's a mental model that entire exam is built on. Each layer inherits the risk from the layer outside of it. If your cloud IAM is misconfigured, no amount of tuning their bug will save you. Internalize this, and a lot of correct answers follow from this first principle. The 3-pod security standards are the privileged, baseline, and restricted. Know what each one blocks, and know the difference between the warn, enforce, and audit modes, because the exam asks about the precise behavior. The other half of the security fundamentals domain is the API security itself. Know how the request flows. First the authentication, then authorization through the airbag, and only after that the admission control. And watch the common traps. The etcd is not encrypted by default, and security account tokens auto-mount unless you explicitly specify auto-mount service account token to false. Model domain at 16% is where I initially lost some time. The questions aren't hard in isolation. Those are about the privilege escalation, denial of the service, attack on the network, the persistence via the airbag, manipulation, and the access of the sensitive data. One concrete trap. Secrets mounted as environment variables versus the secrets mounted as a volume. The exam asks which one is safer, and the answer is volumes, because environment variables can leak through the process inspection or the crash dumps, and logging in ways that volume mounts are less exposed to. Both options sound reasonable, but that's the point. Supply chain security spawns 2 domains. No image digest pinning versus the tag pinning. Tags are mutable. For example, that can be the latest tag. Yeah, you can mute it every time, like you do the push. And it's not the pinned image. Know what a software bill of materials is, and know what the SIG store and cosign used for. Definition level is enough here, not deep implementation needed. How I prepared? I read the official CNCF curriculum before I opened any study guides, and that gave me the exact domain weights and a topics list. Then I mapped each topic to what I already knew and what I needed to learn. And what else worked is studying the compliance frameworks explicitly, such as NIST, the CIS Kubernetes benchmark, and the SLSA. You don't need to memorize them all in details, but just know what each one of them is exactly used for and what the problem it solves. And that should be enough. Also, if the attacker goal is the privilege escalation inside of the cluster, you need to understand what Kubernetes component or the configuration can stop it and how it works. Knowing the framing has helped me with the threat model question specifically. And what didn't help is relying just on the KCSA as a hands-on practice exam. That is a preparation step for the KCSA. It's not the preparation step because those are the two different exams. And one more honest thing is that I underestimated the threat model domain the first time I was preparing. Because I spent probably 2 hours and then moved on. But I'm not sure if I had hit the same scores if I didn't go back and went the whole path of all the threat categories. If I had to redo my preparation and do it again, I'd allocate more time for this topic. I'm still not sure if I covered every case in that domain. The frame that actually made this exam click for me is understanding that every question is really asking the same thing. What is the trust boundary and what happens when it fails? Speaking of the preparation materials, I've put them on the screen. I actually didn't do any courses because I already had some prior experience with Kubernetes, so I went straight to the documentation. But based on the practice test that I was doing and the documentation I was reading, I did create the practice test for myself to get practice. Because the key for solving or let's say passing the practice exam, I mean the multiple choice one, is the practice. You just need to do more tests. Yeah, if you do the like 20 or 30 tests, you'll probably go on exam and it will be feeling like another test. And also I wrote the article on how I passed the KCSA exam. If you want, you can go on Medium and read that. So let's go to the results. My score was 91, the passing score was 75, and it was a part of my pass to the Golden Cube Astronaut status. If you want to get some practice, you can go to my website and there is already the test you can use for your preparation. And besides that, I've created the GitHub repository with all the materials that can be helpful for your preparation for the exam. Thank you for watching and see you.